Aldous.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I congratulate my right honourable friend, the member for Holton, Peace and Howden, for securing this debate and the Backbench Business Committee for granting it. SEND provision in Suffolk, and indeed, as we've heard through the rest of the country, is in crisis, and we urgently need a review, not just of the funding, but as to how we provide a vulnerable and very needy group of children and young people with the education that they both need and deserve. Almost daily I receive emails, firstly from desperate parents unable to secure an appropriate school setting for their children, who quite often are receiving very little education at all, and also from primary school head teachers, SENCOs and staff, exasperated both at being unable to obtain the support that they need and being asked to provide schooling for pupils who really should be in a specialist setting. The system is broken. The situation has been exacerbated by inflationary pressures since 2015 and by COVID, and it often takes years to obtain an educational health and care plan on which there probably is too great a reliance. In the Waveney area, there are schools and staff doing great work, such as the Ashley School and Castle School East, but we urgently need more provision locally, and to get away from a model whereby vulnerable young children are being driven hours around Suffolk and Norfolk. Madam Deputy Speaker, in the remaining time available, I shall briefly focus on 4 funding issues. Firstly, as we've heard from my right honourable friend, the member for West Suffolk, Suffolk receives a poor high needs block funding settlement which is based on historical need and which bears no resemblance to the needs of today, and which means that local authorities with similar SEND responsibilities receive wildly different and better funding settlements. Suffolk, as we've heard, are founding members of the F40, and the funding discrepancies that exist, that both in my own county and across the country, must be evened out as a matter of urgency. Secondly, it is important not to forget the vital work done by FE colleges such as East Coast College. For colleges, disadvantaged funding should be reformed to include a specific block to support students with SEND who do not have high needs. For high needs funding in colleges, tariffs should be set at levels that will allow colleges to recruit and retain support staff. Thirdly, it is all too easy to overlook the bespoke needs of specialist further education colleges that provide education and skills training for those aged 16 to 25 with SEND. Madam Deputy Speaker, at this stage it's important to remember that the Special Educational Needs and Disability Act of 2014 does require local authorities to create a local offer from birth to age 25 for young people with an SEND. These specialist FE colleges play a vital role, and whilst they are publicly funded, they are not currently eligible for the capital or revenue support to address RAC. This inequality should be removed. Finally, Madam Deputy Speaker, it is great news that a GCSE for British Sign Language is now on the way, and I congratulate my constituents Anne and Daniel Gillings for all their campaigning work to make this happen. But there is an acute shortage of qualified teachers of the deaf to teach this new exam. The National Deaf Children's Society highlight the immediate need to train 200 more qualified teachers of the deaf, and I hope that my honourable friend the Minister will take this particular request in mind. In conclusion, Madam Deputy Speaker, there is a national crisis in SEN provision which is felt particularly badly in Suffolk. We are badly, as a whole, letting down large numbers of students, their families, their teachers. And in this respect, I support the motion. A review of funding should take place without delay. Thank you.